Okay, so it's the threat phase, and we've got a lot of rotting flesh on the table here. So let's get through it. First up, we've got the vermin. Remember, they have the highest initiative at 9. So let's see what we got for the AI cards here. Oh, and we've got a frenzy. How wonderful! So some of the zombies are going to be doing extra damage, but I guess not for the vermin. So let's see what they're going to do. It looks like they're going to be, since they can see us, but they can't quite get to us, they're going to be taking some move actions toward us. So this guy would first kind of say, all right, we're going to move over closer to the prey. Then they're going to move towards the sub area with the most noise. That looks actually like it's over here. Okay. And in walking into that, they just generate more noise over here, which is kind of interesting. That's 2 actions. And remember, these little guys have 3 actions. So his third one's going to be not to move. So we got move towards the heroes, move towards, I should hold this a little higher, move towards the area with the most noise, and then do nothing and add another token. So this is kind of a weird situation. And we got our last vermin, move 1 towards the survivors, and then move 1 towards the greatest sound, generate yet another noise token, and do nothing. All right, so they're just kind of, their AI, I guess, is kind of freaking out a little bit and not behaving very well. So let's move on to the next ones. All right, so the deformity over here is up next. It's got an initiative of 5, and it actually doesn't have any threat or any prey, sorry, in view, right? Because this is actually a wall blocking the 2 off. And from there, it can't see all the way over there. If we kind of trace a straight line, it kind of hits this wall before it gets to the entrance over there. So he's not really even aware that we're here. He's going to basically shuffle towards the area with the most sound and then not move. And he only gets 2 actions. So that's going to be shuffle towards the nearest sound and then not move, and he's done. The Howler's next. He's over in this area, and he's adjacent, so he's actually going to get some attacks in. So let's resolve those. His melee attack is going to be going after Shigura. He's got 3 dice. So let's check this out. Ooh, that's not good. So he's actually got 2 hits over here that Shigura is going to have to defend against. Shigura has a base of 2 dice, and he's on a protected area, so he's going to get to roll 3 dice in defense. Let's see what we get. And we got 1 cocked die, 1 success. So let's re-roll this guy. And there we go. So we got 2 successes, which cancels both of these out, and we've defended against that attack. But he does move in as part of that action still. And he still has another action, but which actually is going to be moved towards the sub area with the most noise. So he moves back out again, which is actually kind of lucky for us. All that noise over there is really helping us a little bit. The leader over here is up next, and the sound's going to help us again because as he goes through his 2 actions, he's going to move toward us because we're in line of sight, but then he goes to the loudest area, which is going to be this noisy area over here with all the broken bottles. This increases the noise level up once again when zombies step into it. So our 3, 4, 5 goes to a 6. Switch that over and just put that nearby. This is a very, very loud area right now. Last up is all these roamers on the board, of which there are 4. So let's start with the closest one. He's going to move toward us and generate some noise in the process because he can see us from there. But then he's going to start moving towards the noise, and then he's going to stop because that's 2 actions. All right, so over here, these guys can't see us in this other room, but they can hear the noise. So this guy's going to move towards the noise, and then he's going to do nothing. This guy over here is going to move towards the noise and do nothing, and same thing for this guy all the way down here in the other room and do nothing. So there we go. That's all the zombies activated. And yeah, I guess I'm kind of seeing firsthand here the power of using sound to kind of distract them and move them around a little bit. It seems a little bit less dangerous, this idea of being able to kind of kite them around. But the thing is, now that they're done activating, we are going to have all the noise tokens get removed. So I think part of this depends on our ability to create the noise tokens where we want to on the action stage. Anyway, let's move towards the event. All right, we're going to get another event that actually triggers this time, and there's 3 conditions, all of which we meet. So first, we do have a survivor that's not camouflaged with scraps. We do have a survivor who has moved from a sub-area with zombies in this turn. If you remember, they both actually had to make agility tests earlier in the turn to get over there and leave the zombies that they were next to. And then they both have not been, or actually one of them has not been attacked by zombies this turn, and that is Marie. Shigura did get attacked by by one of them. I can't remember which one it was. But Marie meets that condition. So this is going to trigger. And this is called Ripped Backpack. So it says, that damned thing almost grabbed you. Luckily, it just got your backpack, but something you kept in there fell out when it ripped. All right, so the survivor who fulfills the conditions, which is just Marie this time, is just going to roll a single die and apply the result. Which sucks because she's the one with actual food resources on her, so she might end up losing it. So she gets a star. And, oh man, no, that's horrible. Yeah, the star is to discard 2 resources and 2 batteries. So she loses her food. Man, so the infection that she took by trying to grab stuff off the corpses is just completely negated now, and we're back to square one again. We have absolutely nothing, guys. All this time spent in the church, and we've accomplished nothing except getting infected. We haven't found a single item, a single resource, or anything. This is pretty bad so far. One last thing was that the turn is going to tick up another notch, so that's going to bring us up here to 1 p.m. And now we can remove all these noise tokens and reset back to our turn. Okay, well, it's back to us. We've got 4 actions each, and I think we know what we're going to do. We're just going to get the hell out of the church. So that's going to take 2 action points for both of them to move 1 space and then leave and get back out onto the city map. And that's what we're doing. We've run away, so we can clean this up and kind of put these guys... Actually, we'll do that right now. Put these minis back out here on the city map. So you can see the little arrow. This is where we go in and out of the church. We'll put our minis over there. And we're no longer in the location of the church. We'll take these off. And that was move actions for both of them. And then finally, since we left and there were zombies still in the location that we left, we're gonna face a penalty. This is called an abandonment penalty. And it's really easy to apply. There's this little space on the board on the bottom right, you can see, and it has this penalty that raises the threat level. So this is the symbol for threat, and the threat will go up if you abandon an area with zombies, depending on the number of zombies that were in the area you abandoned. So we've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 zombies is going to be in the middle, 6 through 12, and that's 2 threat. So we're going to go up to a level 12 threat. While we're here, just want to point out that one of the actions that we can take on our turn, and one of the things that we can do with that survival resource that we've been getting when we've been killing zombies, is to lower the threat again. So this is lowering threat, and the amount of resources you have to spend to lower the threat is different depending on which color band you're in. So right now we're in the green threat zone. If we wanted to lower that by 1 from 12 down to 11, we would just have to have somebody spend 3 of their survival points and they'd be able to do that. But we're back out into the city and ready to start looking around for a new place to scavenge. So I'll go ahead and clean up these tiles and set them to the side. All right, so we're ready to start exploring the city again, and each of us still have our 2 action points. I'm probably gonna make a video cut here, but I wanted to point out that the rules do tell us to place a search token on any of the locations that we leave, just as a reminder that if we ever do decide to go back in there, and we are allowed to if we want to, that we can never search the areas again. So we can't take the search the area action in order to find more stuff. And this just kind of prevents us of gaming the system to where we could just kind of enter and leave and just keep searching the same area quickly in order to get resources. So going back in there is going to have limited utility. I don't think we would do that unless we're just trying to get off of the streets. So we may as well pick our next building that we want to try and search, either to the north or the south, and then see what else we can find. Okay, so we are back out in the city, and we have 2 actions left for our survivors here. It looks like the next place to explore are either this location down the block, where you can see this one further up back here, and they're both equal distance away. Doesn't really matter. So we're just going to spend the last couple action points these guys have left to move them forward. So Sugar is going to go 1-2, and then he's out, and then Marie's going to go 1-2, and that's it. We're spent on point, so it's time to move to the threat phase and see what kind of city events we get. Since we're in the threat phase and our characters are out in the city, we're going to draw an event from this city event deck. So just like the other one, we draw these cards from the bottom, and then we're going to reference the side of the card that just matches the type of terrain that we're on. So we'll either be in an alley space or the street space. We're in a street, so we'll resolve this one. We've got waste facility. Let's check this out with a little bit less glare. You arrive at a waste facility. Although it seems a safe and quiet place, you're not sure it's worth going in to investigate. All right, so the survivors must decide whether to go in to investigate or walk on. We're still trying to find supplies. I don't know what kind of good stuff we could find at the waste facility, but I'm feeling adventurous, so we're going to walk on. These icons over here on the left just means that this event is going to trigger no matter what the current threat level is in the city stage. So all 3 green, yellow, and red threat levels will still trigger the event. All right. Yeah, let's go into investigate. So we're going to roll 1 die for all survivors. All right, I'm just going to roll it without reading the event. I think that's a little more fun. Okay, well, we didn't get a skull. That's usually good. All right, so we've got a blood. All right, so there's the skull. Here's the blood result, and it says the peace and quiet in this place allows you to search with freely. Okay, there's a grammar mistake. Allows you to search freely for something interesting. We're going to draw a number of survivors times 2 objects. All right, so that's going to be 4 cards. If survivors find the objects that belong to, that's a fire extinguisher icon type, they can be distributed as they like. Okay, so that's pretty awesome. We got some good luck. All right, so we're going to draw 4 object cards and see if we get any with this icon on it. Even though the game rules says to draw object cards, they're actually labeled as the search deck, but this is the deck of cards that they mean. So let's see what we get with 4 card draws. We got a hit on the very first one. Awesome. So we're at least going to get a trash can lid. Maybe we can get some other stuff. Nope. That's a portable radio, but we can't pick that one up. This is the type of stuff that we're looking for in order to complete our objective. We got some batteries here. That's not going to count for this search. And then there's the last card. And we found an Uzi, obviously a weapon. All right, so we only found 1 object, but still it's a hit, so that's cool. So this is a trash can lid. It's something that you hold in your hand, so we'll have to equip it to one of our characters' hands. If we put it in our backpack instead, it's going to take up 3 slots, so it's going to be kind of a lot to put in our backpack. And we could use it, we could discard it and cancel the result of 2 dice of an attack roll. So it looks like just kind of a one-time use defensive thing, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and just give it to Marie here. She's got, one hand with her knife, so let's have her equip it. I'm just giving it to her because she's the one that's currently infected, so she's already kind of beaten down a little bit, and she also has a little bit less health than Shigura over here, so I guess she could benefit from a little bit of extra protection. All right, so that worked out really well. Time to move on with the rest of the threat phase. Even though our survivors are out in the city right now instead of exploring one of the locations, we do still draw those zombie threat cards. So I've gone ahead and done that here. So the A side that shows how the zombies move, since there's none of them in play, we just ignore that side. But we draw these cards because we still need to resolve the B side. So let's look at our threat condition. This will trigger on a survivor who has, in this turn, sacrificed any allies. All right, we have not done that, so we don't have to worry about it. But we are just going to advance the time track by 1. So it looks like we're moving from 1300 to 1400. And we are done with the threat phase. We can reset our action tokens here. Actually, I forgot to mark these when they were finished moving. And then we get to start taking actions again. Let's see what this location is. So for both of our survivors, I'm going to spend 1 action point to move them into the next space. And now we are in front of whatever this is, so we can explore it. So we'll go ahead and draw an exploration card. Time stands still as some figures turn their heads and stare at you with their dead eyes. You are their new objective. We're going to follow the setup rule number 4. So because of this, it sounds like there are going to be zombies in here. So I checked in the book for setup rule number 4, and we're just going to draw our location and populate it with zombies according to the location card. So let's see what kind of location we found. And we've got the armory. Okay, that sounds pretty dope. So let me go get tile number 17, which is going to represent the armory and is going to be our entrance spot. All right, so our armory tile has been set up. I did forget to say on camera that I decided Marie was going to be the one taking the explore action. The explore action doesn't cost any action points, but you still need to designate like who's actually taking the action outside of your group, because she's the one that ends up in the entrance space over here. I also went ahead and drew the zombie spawn cards, so we'll take a look at what's on the tile. I decided to start doing this stuff off camera just to speed up the videos a little bit. I think we've got a pretty good idea of how the setup rules work for both markers and spawning zombies and all that kind of stuff, so I don't see a point in continuing to film that part. All right, first let's just look at the terrain features of the armory, and we can see that we've got kind of a row of impassable terrain right here. So the exit is, where is the exit? Oh, here it is. It's hard to see. There's the blue line. So the exit's going to be up in this sub area. And if we want to get there, we're going to have to walk around the edge to get over to there. Because all this stuff is impassable, but we do have line of sight through it. The zombies can still see us and we can still see them. The only other terrain feature is in this sub area where this guy is. This is the sign for difficult terrain. And basically, whenever a character, a survivor, walks into that, they have to spend an extra action point to get in there. Now, Shigura, I did select for his level 1 skill, this difficult terrain skill, so he's going to be able to walk in there normally and just ignore those markers. For whatever reason, both the difficult terrain and the flooded terrain symbol, they have the same exact rules. There's really no difference between the two. So he can ignore those, but Marie can't. Another thing that I don't think I've said in the previous videos is that for all of the different terrain features, no matter what they are, difficult terrain or the sound or the bonuses, the zombies don't have to spend extra actions to move into difficult terrain, and they also don't have to. They don't get any defensive bonuses when you have a defensive tile like that. So they mostly don't apply to the zombies. We ended up drawing 2 zombie spawn cards, and this was my result. So we only have 3 in here, but we kind of have some tough ones. So we have our normal roamer over here. This guy is a crawler, and he has a ranged attack, actually, I think, as his special ability. He's also a little bit harder to get out of his spot. So he might be able to kind of spit, I think he spits like some kind of goop at us from a distance when his special ability triggers. And then over here, we have, I'll try to zoom in a little bit, a sleeper. This is the first time I've encountered the sleeper. She has a pretty high initiative. There's only one of them, so she's going to be tougher. She has 6 health, which is really rough. And she removes dice from us when we try to attack her. So with our kitchen knives, we're just going to be rolling 1 die to try to take her out. I guess this is as good as time as any to mention that in a previous video when we were dealing with the leader, and the leader had the same situation, he had some melee defense and he had 6 health. I said it was going to take 18 attacks in order to take him out. She's going to be the same case here, but what I meant by that was that an average of 18 attacks. Basically, I was just looking at the dice and realizing that if our health is green, then we only have 2 successes per die. So that means basically if we get average luck on our die rolls, it's going to take 18 attempts in order to actually get 6 damage through to her. And that was only if we stay within the green area on the health track over here. If our health dips and we end up in the yellow, then we only get 1 out of 6 successes on here, and that goes up to an average of 36 attempts before, if we have average luck on the dice, that we can actually do 6 damage. So she's a pretty good candidate for us to also just ignore and try to walk around if we can, because we just don't have good enough equipment in order to deal with her right now. I spent another action for Shigura as a move action, so he moves from out into the city and joins us in here. And I just also want to point out a little bit of a struggle that I'm having with the movement and exploration rules. It's very clear to me that the exploration action in the book does not use an action point. They explicitly state that, but they're not super clear on the procedure for going from the city map over to a location tile like this. And I don't know whether or not you have to move into it. So if we're in this space, we have to actually spend an action point to get in there and arrive on this tile. I'm assuming that's true, but that's kind of weird because it means that whoever actually explores the tile, they end up using fewer actions. The rules say that if you're out here, you just basically take an explore action for free, so you don't end up taking a move action. You just explore and you end up on that tile. So Marie didn't need an action in order to get indoors, but that means Shigura did because this area was already explored and he needed to take a move action. It's a little bit weird. I'm not 100% sure that's how it's intended to work, but that's how I read the rules. So I'm going to keep playing it that way unless I get some clarification from some Spanish speakers on the forums. I've had both survivors move into this square adjacent so that they can attack into this area right here. I think my plan is going to be to try to take the roamer out and hopefully also the crawler over here. Get it down to just the sleeper and then leave her alone maybe. My plan is to kind of have, since this guy's already in there, maybe have the crawler as he chases us. He's going to have to go around the side here. And I just confirmed in the rules I was actually wrong about the difficult terrain markers here. Apparently survivors and zombies are affected by the special rule. They don't really go into great detail about how exactly that's supposed to work since zombies don't have action points, but I'm assuming that means it just takes an extra action that they get. So let's say that the crawler was over here and his action, he had 2 action points and his AI card told him to move. Well, he would just spend both of those actions to move in and then he wouldn't do anything else. So that's how I'm going to play that. So apparently some of the some of the special types of terrain actually affect zombies, and some of them do not. So that coverage terrain I talked about earlier that gives defensive bonuses, I was right about that. The zombies don't benefit from this special rule, but you're really just going to have to look up the terrain and remind yourself when they come up again whether or not they affect just the survivors or they also affect the zombies as well. Let's have Marie try and take this roamer out. She's going to roll her 2 dice and she gets a success, so that's going to be 1 damage on the roamer. With her last action, Marie's going to try to finish that zombie off. And she's able to. Awesome. So Marie took out that roamer. I dropped a corpse marker and gave her an experience point, or a survival point. Shiguro only had 1 action left, so I went ahead and put him into a defensive position. So now we'll go into the threat stage, where I kind of expect these guys to start chasing us around the side, but maybe get clogged up in this difficult terrain here. Our attribute here for this threat activation is Zombie Disorder. We do have the crawler out on the board, and it says if it starts its threat activation stage in an area with noise, which it does not, it would have received an extra action this round. So let's just move on to the resolving the artificial intelligence one by one. All right, our speaker over here, the little girl, probably inspired by The Ring, is our priority 7, first to act. Her first action is going to be to move towards the prey that she sees over here. So she's going to take a move action over there. She gets a second action, and that's going to be to actually do nothing. She would have gone into an area with sound, but we skipped that one, and she takes a nothing action. So then this just loops back around again, and she takes another move action. She doesn't have enough actions left to get into the difficult terrain, which costs 2. So I guess I'm just going to move her over here, and that's her 3 actions. Our crawler here has 2 actions. So he's going to move toward us for the first one, and for the second one, he actually just does nothing. Our event on the other side does not trigger because we don't have any survivors with yellow or red health level. So we're just going to tick the time up 1. And this is going to bring us to 1500. So you can see we have our next kind of time-based event that happens over here. And this is the supply icon, which means our characters now have to eat. This is something that, if we look at the time track, is only going to happen once every 24 hours. But at this point, our characters have to eat if they can, and there's going to be some consequences. So let's resolve that really quick. All right, so I just remembered that earlier on in the series, even though Marie found some supplies off of the corpses, she was trying to escape at some point and her backpack tore open and she lost her supplies. So neither of our 2 characters have any supplies to consume. Now, here's one of the weird things that I talked about the book. I said some of the actions are misleading in the way that they're listed as actions. One of the actions in here is called the consuming action. And when this event triggers on the time track, we have to basically take the consuming action, and it doesn't cost us any points or anything. It's kind of weird to consider consuming an action because it looks to me in the rules like it's not something that you would ever voluntarily take. It's just an event that triggers that you have to do when the game tells you to do it. So it's not something I would normally call an action. I think it's just part of the weirdness of the translation from Spanish into English maybe. But anyway, let's show how it works. So since she cannot consume, basically she's just going to lose health for every amount of supplies that she has to consume that she can't. Now, the amount of food and water the characters need to consume is built into their player sheet over here. So some of the characters need more resources. She's a little bit lighter weight, I guess, so she only needs 1. But she doesn't have it, so she's going to take some damage because she doesn't. Shiguro over here is the same. He only has a 1, and he doesn't have any, so he's going to take his first damage of the game, which is actually kind of surprising. But that's it. Our threat stage is completely resolved. We can clean up the tokens and return to the survivors. So this is kind of a crappy position on our new turn. We're not in range to attack these guys, and I don't want to walk into the difficult terrain yet, because if they come to us, they're going to exhaust all of their actions, and that basically means we're going to get the first kind of string of attacks and be able to potentially at least take that crawler out back here before it's able to do any damage to us. So even though we have 4 actions each, I think we're mostly just going to search this corpse token and then just stay where we are, because I'm just trying to maximize the amount of actions that I can take safely before they kind of bite me back. So let's have Marie do a search action on here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this and roll our 2 dice that we use for searching. See what we get. And we got a skull, so that means something bad is going to happen. Let's go find out what it is. This one's not too bad because she rolled the torso with the skull, so her stress is just going to go up 1, which isn't as bad, nearly as bad as the infection going up 1. And I do, just while I'm here, I just want to complain again for this game's lack of quick reference sheets. These little charts that you often have to make die rolls against to see what the result is, this is the type of stuff that really belongs on like a quick reference card that you can put on the side of the board instead of having to find the page and the rules for where it is and dig it out of this kind of awkward rule book. But I guess that's a little bit more of a review kind of thing to talk about later. So we're not going to do anything this round other than go into defense mode, because we're not allowed to search the area until it's completely clear of zombies. So we'll just go into the threat phase from here. All right, so I'm glad we waited. I think this is going to work out. First up is our sleeper here. She gets 3 actions on her turn, and her first AI bullet is to move into here towards the survivors and then make her attack. So let's resolve that. The sleeper rolls 4 dice in melee, and the tiebreaker rules is going to have her going after Shiguru here, so she's going to take a swipe at Shiguru. All right, here's the sleeper's attack. We got 2 bad results, and Shiguru, with his defensive stance right there, is going to get 3 dice to try and defend against this. Let's see what we get. We get 1, it looks like just 1 success. We got 2 of these green stars. That triggers our knife, but we're not attacking right now. We're defending, so that doesn't really help us. Out of these 2, we'll definitely remove the die with the infection result on it. So we are going to take damage, and some noise is going to be generated over here. Looks like she hits really hard. She does 3 damage. So we're going to go from 9 down to 6. And now we have a character that's in the yellow zone, which is not super awesome. All right, so her last action out of 3 is to do nothing, since it took 2 actions for her to move into that difficult terrain. The crawler is going to go next. He moves towards us as well, but he only has 2 actions, so that's as far as he can get. But he is still going to make a melee attack, and this time it's going to go after Marie because Shiguru is so damaged and health is the decider. So he's going to make his 3 dice attack against Marie. All right, so the crawler takes a swipe, and we get 1 success result over here. Marie gets 3 dice to defend herself since she's in a defensive stance. So let's see what we can roll. She completely whiffs her defense. That's too bad. All right, so she's going to take some damage. Now, we could use our trash can lid to defend against this, but I don't think we're going to use it. It's a one-time use kind of thing, and the crawler only does 1 damage, so we're going to go ahead and just take the damage. So we'll give her 1 damage to her health. She's also going to be in the yellow, which is horrible, but this infection we ignore because she's already infected. When you roll these, you're only going to raise the infection level if you're currently at 0. The way that this increases beyond 1 after that is usually through doing things like searching corpses and having events trigger. Further infection rules on here don't raise it higher. All right, so our event is not going to trigger because nobody's camouflaged with scraps currently, but we do have the infection icon over here, so Marie is going to have to draw an infection card to see what happens. Numbness. A sudden numbness expands over your body, causing your muscles to stiffen. Our infection is only at level 1 and nothing happens, so not a big deal for this. We'll go ahead and discard this. All right, we're at the end of the threat activation, so all of our tokens get cleaned up, and now we can go into the survivor actions again. And, all right, so that did not work out as well as I had hoped. I thought that this was gonna slow them down to where we would actually get the first attacks, but I guess I forgot about how the AI works, where they have a line item that allows them to both move and attack as part of the same action. So that's kind of rough. Anyway, let's see if we can take out at least the crawler, and then if we can, maybe just run past the sleeper. We're down to just rolling 1 die each since both of our characters are in the yellow, and that's so low that, as I was talking about earlier, we'd have to roll an average of 36 attacks with average luck in order to take that out, and that's going to be so many rounds of just standing here and rolling dice. I just don't want to do that. It's really, this game's pretty tough when you haven't found any other weapons and you have this really basic kind of crappy weapons to fight with, because it just makes several of the zombies that can just spawn randomly completely, completely unfightable, I guess is the way I'd describe it. All right, so let's move on with the attacks here. Let's start with Marie. All right, so Marie's health is yellow, and we're still rolling 2 dice because her melee ability is a 2, but we're looking for yellow blood results now because our health has dropped, and that's only on 1 of the sides on these dice. So our chances have just been cut in half of actually getting any damage in. But hey, we got 2 hits. All right, I'll take that. Still, that's just going to get 1 damage through to the crawler, but I'll take it. The crawler will take 3 damage before we take it out. Here's Marie's second attack on the crawler, and we got it. We got a yellow blood, so another damage gets through. Here's her third attack. Not quite. She generates some noise in the process. Let's see if Shigura can finish off the crawler with his 2 dice. Nope. He's just going to generate some noise. Shigura tries again. And nope. He's also looking for the yellow blood results, and he doesn't get it. Shigura's third attempt. And there we go. He finally gets 1 through. That's the 3rd damage on this guy, so we'll go ahead and remove him. We'll drop our corpse token. And this guy's going to award 2 survival points to Shigura, so we'll go up to 7 there. All right, so each of our characters have just 1 action left. And I kind of think that we're just going to defend ourselves and see what the sleeper does to us here. So we just went into defense mode, and that's it for our actions. I went ahead and drew a threat card, so let's resolve our sleeper here. Her first of 3 actions is going to be move into the same area as her prey and attack, and she's going to target Shigura. The tiebreakers came down to who had the lowest infection level, and he won that one. So the sleeper is going to roll her 4 melee dice against Shigura. And she whiffs completely. All right, going down the AI card here, her actions are going to be to do nothing, and then she'll wrap back around, and she's going to make another attack, and this is going to be against Shigura. So these These zombies that get 3 actions and roll 4 dice when they attack, man, they're just a whole lot tougher since they can possibly get 2 attacks in per activation. Especially when they are accurate and they hit hard. Alright, well, we got lucky and she whiffed again, so I feel like I'm kind of lucking out with the sleeper right now, and normally she'd be doing a lot more damage to me than normal. So that's it for the zombie activation. Let's see what our event is. The event doesn't trigger because you have to have a survivor in a location with no zombies. Here we get our hunter icon, but it's still daytime, of course, so we ignore that. The hunter is not going to be coming after us. So we'll discard this and clean up the tokens, and it's our turn again. Okay, so I talked a big game about not dealing with her since she takes 6 health, and our accuracy went down with our knives. But I'm kind of afraid if we move into this next room here, I'm kind of afraid of more zombies spawning, and then the same thing happening here that happened in the church, where we just kind of get surrounded and I feel like I need to run back out again. And if I need to run back out again, the thing is, because of the layout of this room, we'd have to go this way, and we'd have this difficult terrain marker. That's really going to slow Marie down, and we'll possibly get bottlenecked in there while the sleeper continues to attack us. So even though it just seems like a really bad idea, I think I'm just going to try to take this sleeper out and hope I get lucky on some die rolls. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to spend Marie's first action, and she's going to take the use action. She started the game, part of her starting equipment, with these bandages. And for items like this that don't have any hand icons, when you use them, you don't have to have them like equipped in your hands or anything like that. You just use them directly and follow the directions on the card. She has really good medical capabilities, and her special skill allows her to re-roll failed dice during those types of tests. Getting her or Shigura, doesn't really matter, back into the green zone is going to at least give us some better odds on our dice when we try to attack this guy. So I feel like now is as good a time as any to use these bandages. I'm going to use this on Shigura instead of her. The only reason I'm doing that is because she still has this trash can lid, so she still has a little bit of opportunity to defend herself against this thing from taking her health down too low. So let's resolve this use action with the bandages here. We'll spend an action and discard this card, and we'll make a kind of a medical test. It's another attribute test. And if we succeed, if we roll our green stars, we'll restore 2 health. If we roll 2 stars, we'll get an extra health that we can restore. She's in the same sub area as Shigura, so she's able to patch him up instead of her. So let's go ahead and make our die roll. All right, Marie gets 4 dice for making any kind of medical tests, and we're still looking for green stars because her stress is still really low. So hopefully we should be able to nail this on the first try. And we actually got some fairly bad luck. We barely passed it. I'd really like to exceed it, so I get that extra health. I'd like to heal 3 instead of just 2. So I'm going to use her degree 1 skill over here. I can increase her stress by 1 and re-roll one of the dice during the medical tests. But I can only do that once per test. So her stress is going to go up 2. She feels the pressure in order to get this right, and hopefully we get it. And we fail. All right, that's not great. All right, so anyway, we're going to discard this and restore 2 health on Shigura over here. All right, let's have Shigura start making his attacks. He's got 4 actions. I'm going to spend his 2 dice. The thing is, though, is that the sleeper here has melee defense, so she's going to remove one of them, and he's only going to be rolling 1 die to try and hit her, but he's looking for the green blood symbols. I'm going to go through his 4 attacks pretty quick. Attack number 1, that's nothing and a sound token. I'll put that down. Attack number 2, he gets nothing again. Attack number 3, he gets nothing again. And attack number 4, he gets 1 hit. Alright, so our first of 6 damage is applied after he's exhausted his entire turn trying to do some damage to her. Marie has 3 actions left on the account of her healing up Shigura at the beginning of the round, so I'm going to make her 3 attacks. Again, she's just rolling 1 die, and she's looking for yellow blood symbols. So here's the first one. We fail that. 2, we fail that and generate a noise. Lay another one down. And number 3, we actually succeed. Alright, so we get all that. We got 2 damage in on this character, so now we'll move over to the threat phase. Alright, so the sleeper's awake and is going to get 2 attacks because she gets 3 actions. That's going to be 2 attack actions, a do-nothing action, or it's going to be an attack action, a do-nothing, and it's going to wrap back around to the top. So here we go. 4 dice attack against Shigura here. Looks pretty bad. We don't have any defense. We spent all of our actions on offense, so Shigura is only going to get 2 dice to try and negate some of this. And he completely whiffs it. So we're going to create noise in the area. Shigura is going to get infected. And he's going to take 3 damage. So now Shigura is way back down into the yellow. So we go all the way back down to 5 here. And things are looking really grim. All right, second attack from the sleeper. Here's her 4 dice attack against Marie now, since she has more health. And rolled pretty well. I mean, rolled well for the zombies, not for me. We're going to put 1 more noise token in the area. So we'll flip that to the 3 side and put that one down here. All right, and we only have 2 dice to defend for Marie. She gets 1 defense. I'm wondering if I want to spend her trash can lid right now, discard this card, and cancel the result of 2 dice of an attack roll. I think I'm going to do that. So she's going to use her lid and to defend herself to just cancel all of this. And we're going to move on to the event. This one's going to trigger because we have survivors with an infection level of 1 or 2. Both of them have an infection level of 1. So this is called This Looks Bad. You did not know the infection would spread so quickly. Shivers, spams, I think that's supposed to be spasms. Shivers, spams, we'll go with spams because that's hilarious. And confusing images of spam run through your body and mind. All right, so what's going to happen here? The survivor, I don't know why I can't say the word survivor, who fulfills the conditions at random if several do. All right, let's do another coin flip here, and let's have Marie be the one without the 3 on it. Yep, so that's going to be Marie. Perform a strength test at -1. Okay, well, her strength is only a 2, so that means she's going to get 1 die. So let's see if she succeeds. Yep, she nailed it. All right. So let's see what happens here. Fortunately, after a few minutes, those feelings disappear from your body and nothing happens. Otherwise, the infection would have ticked up by 1. So this is a good example of how your infection can increase. That has nothing to do with the zombies actually attacking you. All right, the last thing to resolve here, though, is an infection result. So we are going to draw an infection card for both of our characters. Marie's going to have some muscle spams. Several painful and intense cramps are going to ravage different parts of her body. So she has a level of 1, and she's going to get a -1 agility for the rest of the turn and the next one. So we'll just have to put this to the side and try and remember to apply that. Let's see what we have for Shigura. He's got blurred vision. Nothing happens. Moving on. It's our turn again, and I'm definitely a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. I feel like since we spent 7 actions so far getting those 2 damage in, we've got another 4 to go, so we may as well go whole hog since we're invested now. I'm going to fix this, though, because this is just weird. I don't know how they're attacking with their backs turned. We'll make that look more like it's supposed to. All right, so let's start our string of 1-die attacks against this sleeper. Marie's up first, looking for yellow bloods. First attack, and nothing but noise. Second attack, that's a fail because her health is yellow. Third attack is a success, so we get 1 damage in. And fourth attack is another fail with another noise token. So 1 damage. I'll flip that to a 3. And 2 noise tokens from those 4 attacks. All right, we're halfway there. Here's Shigura's 4 attacks with 1 die each. So here we go. That's going to be a fail. Number 2 is going to be a fail. Number 3 is going to be a fail. And number 4 is going to be a fail. All right, we accomplished very little that round. 8 actions, and we got 1 damage through. Okay, we drew one of the standard AI cards with the standard list over here. So she's going to get 2 attacks. Her first attack is going to go after Marie because Marie has a little bit more health than Shigura. So here is her 4 dice. And we got 1 result. Marie gets to defend with 2 dice. And she fails. Her health is yellow, so this doesn't cancel anything. So we're going to get hit for another 3 damage and generate yet another noise. So we'll flip this over. Fiddling with these noise tokens in these situations is really annoying, by the way. This noise is really not doing anything, and I keep having to add and remove them. All right, so 3 damage is going to take her down to the red, probably. So she's almost dead. Yep, she's in the red now. Moving over here to Shigura's attack, since now he has more health. There's 4 dice. And that's going to be 2 successes. Of course, we always roll well for the zombies, just not us. And we'll defend with our 2 dice. And as suspected, he's not going to block any of it. So he is going to get hit as well, and we get yet another noise token. Got to track those noise tokens. And he's going to take 3 damage. So he's going to go from 5 down to 2. All right, fun. Let's check out our event. No event's going to trigger because it's not nighttime. But I do want to point out down here, there's 4 line items, and you can see for number 4, there's an option A and an option B. Normally you have to, every single one of these line items has to be true in order for this to trigger. But when you have lettered versions of the same number, they turn into ors. So in order to fulfill condition number 4, it could either be nighttime or the tile could be dark. Tiles that are dark is something we haven't seen yet, but it's this little flashlight icon, and basically the location cards will tell you, they'll have this little flashlight icon next to the tiles to tell you that that tile is dark. So you treat that tile as if it's nighttime for game purposes when you're in that area. It's not dark in the armory, but if we were to go into the storage room, it would be, and that would apply. The only other thing left on this is the hunter icon, which of course we ignore because it's daytime. Okay, well, I've cleaned up the noise tokens, and it's our turn again, so we're going to run. We are going to have to make agility tests in order to get out of there. And of course, the sleeper is going to negate our agility tests a little bit. She's going to, with this hand symbol, she's going to remove one of our dice. So we're going to have to work extra hard even to just leave the space that we're in with her. So let's start with Marie, which is rough because Marie is additionally going to be impaired since she still has this muscle spasms in effect from her infection, and it's going to last this one last turn. So she's going to have 2 dice removed from her agility tests. Her agility is a 3, so she's going to get just 1 die, and we're looking for the green star symbol per action. So let's see if she can escape. Nope, that's a fail. We'll spend another action trying to move out. There we go. So Marie made it out. We're going to put her back out onto the city map. And now let's try Shigura. Shigura gets 3 dice. He has super high agility. He's got a 4, and he's not being impaired by his infection, so he should be able to get out of here. Yeah, he does. He actually also excels at it, so he's going to get a survival point out of that. All right, so we're back out on the city, and I just want to point out before I clean up this tile, we decided to run away, that I was tracking the number of actions I was taking to try and damage her with our knives, and we were about on track of where I thought we would be. We took a total of 20 attempts, 20 actions to try and hit her, and we did a total of 3 damage. So we were actually slightly below average. We would have ended up spending closer to probably 40 actions trying to take her down. So anyway, we're gonna forget about her. We also abandoned this corpse token. I didn't want to take any other risks trying to take that out. We can set this back aside and finish the rest of the action round up on the city map. But actually, before we do that, I almost forgot. We do have this abandonment penalty. Again, we ran away instead of defeating all the zombies. Since there was just 1 zombie, though, in the tile that we ran from, the threat is only going to go up once. So that moves us from a 10 to an 11. And I'll clean this up now, and we'll continue on the city map. Okay, we've left the armory. We're back out into the city again. And I'm going to spend our 2 actions. So actually, let's take a second to look at our situation here. So we're pretty close to death. Shigura is at 2 health. Marie is at 3. We're out of any kind of medical equipment. We don't have anything that can help us. And we're just in this really tough spot where in order to actually find equipment that might be able to help us, we have to fight zombies. But we'll probably die if we do so, because all we have is these crappy knives. And they're just not good enough to deal with the zombies that we're encountering so far. So I think I'm going to call it as far as the trying to complete the objective, and we're just going to try to abandon the city completely. Our characters are going to die, so I'd rather run and see if we can keep them alive rather than just running them into another location and just watching them die. Death is permanent in the game, so our whole campaign will come to an end if we do that. Although I do feel like I learned an important lesson about just trying to fight when you're unequipped. It's just really not worth it. Anyway, so I'm going to spend 2 actions for both of our characters here. They're going to take 2 move actions, and that's going to put them into this space. And the reason I'm doing that is because this space has a sewer or a manhole cover here. And those types of spaces are the ones that you use when you're trying to escape the city before you've actually completed your objective. So I need to go re-reference the rules for that and come back, and we'll resolve that and see what happens. Before then, I think actually that was 2 actions apiece. That means Marie is out of actions. So yeah, I'm not sure if we need to go do another threat phase before Marie needs another action to escape, or if we can just do it right now. I'll check that out and we'll come back. All right, so I just looked up the rules again, and I got a few things wrong. So let's take a look at some of this. First off, escaping through these sewers or manhole covers is not something that you can do from the city map. That mechanic is for when you are on a location tile that represents the city, and the location tile has a sewer in one of its sub areas. So this is like a quick get out of the city if you want to abandon and you're kind of like maybe being hunted by the hunter or something like that at night. That's not our current situation. So because of that, this option's not available to us. We're going to have to actually go to one of the exits. Now, the rules did say you can use the exits, and it does not say in the rules for leaving the city or abandoning the city that you have to complete the objective before you abandon the city. The problem I'm having is, if you remember back when we were first rolling on our survival mode chart here, and we rolled randomly to determine how to leave the city, the result we got said that we're going to take the second exit closer to the leader survivor when the objective of the city stage is complete. Okay, well, I mean, it's easy to find the second closest exit. It's going to be that C exit up there in the corner. They're pretty close to A. B's on the other side of the map, so it would be C that we would leave from. But it says to do it when the objective is complete. So the rules are kind of conflicting with themselves. I'm going to go ahead and ignore that because I don't see any other way to stay alive and keep the campaign going. It seems like one part of the rules intends for you to always be able to leave the city, but this seems to kind of conflict with it and not give you a way to leave the city. So anyway, another thing that I guess confirm on the forums, just yet another rules problem with this game. So I'm going to undo the last move action that we did because we're actually moving in the opposite direction that we went, and move them towards the C exit instead. And then we'll resolve our city events and see if we can escape. All right, so we moved in the opposite direction on the street, and we're closer to the C exit. So let's figure out what our city event card says. It looks like we found a zombie mob. Some nearby grunts alert you. You need to decide quickly if you fight, escape, or hide. Oh, man. So I'm not going to look at the thematic events down here, keeping with the spirit of the game. I think escape is what I would try to do. I mean, at this point, we're just trying to run, and I just imagine them running down the street as fast as they can to the exit. So let's see what happens when we try to escape. Okay, here it's called run away. In your desperation to escape, you momentarily drop everything you're carrying and something falls from your backpack. Increase 3 threat and choose a survivor at random to see who loses something from their backpack. That survivor discards an object kept in their backpack at random, then the survivors in the area are exhausted. All right, so the threat's going to go up from 11 up to 14. We'll flip our token here. Again, the regular heart is going to be Marie. And that's actually what we wanted because Marie doesn't have anything in her backpack. So this doesn't hurt us too bad, other than the fact that we're exhausted, but we were pretty much already exhausted. Shigura just loses his 1 action point he had left over. All right, so let's move on to the threat card. No zombies in play, so we flip to the B side. And our condition is that we have to have a survivor who has, in this turn, attacked. Okay, well, that's not going to trigger. So we're just going to tick the time up once and then move on. It's been 2 turns, so our muscle spasms go away for Marie. I've reset our action tokens. And so we've got 4 actions left, and we're just going to spend them running away. So for both of them, that's just going to be 1, 2, and then I guess 3 to just escape off of the city. So I guess we're going to switch over to the trip phase now, where we're going to make a run back to our shelter.